Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Know Your Shit podcast, where our knowledge and pride drives us to be excellent in everything that we do. We're sitting here, we're in this group, we're in this room figuring out how to build a business we can be proud of rather than just chasing paychecks. And we learn how to do that by talking to some of the most successful entrepreneurs, most successful people in business to see how they got where they are. We have a great show for you today because we have a great guest and Mr. Jim Huntzicker. Jim, thanks so much for being with us.
Hey, man, thanks for having me.
So, Jim, why don't you tell people what it is you do?
Well, I started out in the real estate business where I was for about 20 years, but I kept walking away from profitable businesses. Now, the good side of that, looking back, is it taught me money was easy to make. And if you don't think money is easy to make, you have a limiting belief buried inside that tells you it needs to be hard, because it's not. But for me, on the seventh business that was profitable till it wasn't. What I realized looking back after a couple of years of reflection is that I had some limiting beliefs that were buried that were super deep about money. And mine was that money causes problems. And it was from how I grew up. And we all have these. Yours doesn't have to be about money, but most of the decisions you made that are screwing with your life, usually they start to really rear their ugly head between the ages of 35 and 55. You decided before you were 8 years old. So think about that. You're like, your 5-year-old brain said, okay, this is what I believe. And then you carry it into adulthood. But literally your 5-year-old brain decided, and it could have been something you overheard your parents fight about. It could have just been something, one of whoever influenced you, you heard them and you trusted them. So you heard them say something. You're like, okay, that's true. Or it could have even been that your dad came home from work, you spilled juice on the floor. He yelled at you because you didn't say, oh, he had a rough day, he's probably stressed out. It's that I can't do things right. Like, I don't know how to do things right. I spill stuff, and then you decide then I don't do things right. And you carry that into adulthood. It seems crazy, but it's, behavioral psychology tells us this is exactly what we all do. And so I was running from money. Every time money got to about $500,000, I would run. Like, this is not for me. I could have sold a business. I could have sold a list I made. I didn't do any of that because that would have meant more money. Now, I wasn't conscious for me, but until I looked back and realized, holy crap, what did I do? But it was one of the best things that ever happened to me because, again, one, I realized money's easy to make. So, again, if you think it's hard, you have a limiting belief buried there. And two, it brought me on this journey where now I'm adding value. Where back then, all I was after was money. And now all I'm trying to do is add value to the marketplace, right? So it's there's good in everything if you look for it. And there's bad in everything if you look for that too. So it's really all about looking for the good in things and figuring out, your way.
All right, that makes sense. So what really kicked off for you this search, this soul searching?
Well, it was losing a bunch of money in the last business. It was, and I'm looking back and reflecting, I'm like, okay, like, what did I just do? Like, why do I keep doing it? I didn't, because during it, I was just like, obviously I talk fast. And so I got, ADD, I'd be diagnosed with, so I went to a doctor. But so I said, I get bored. I'm bored with this. I'm bored. I want to do something new. I want a new challenge. That's what I kept telling myself. It wasn't until I realized that I ended up going on a 2-year journey, soul searching, but I didn't plan on it being 2 years. But looking back, I realized in that journey that, oh crap, I have a money issue. I've been running from money, and it's because of how I grew up. My parents always fought about money. We didn't have money. We were homeless we had to move in with my grandparents. So we always had a place to stay. It's not like we were living on the street, but we didn't have our own home because we got foreclosed and got kicked out. And then my parents quit drinking. My dad made a great financial turnaround, but my parents still thought now about having too much money. So my 7-year-old brain decided, okay, when money's not there, money's a problem. When money is there, money's a problem. So
Sure.
money causes problems no matter what, is what I realized. And I had to put all these pieces together through this soul searching journey. And I went back and studied because there's so many people to study that are teaching personal development and limiting belief. But what I realized is, and this is not to discredit anybody recent, but a lot of them, there's nothing new really from like 1960 on. Like Earl Nightingale and like Neville Goddard are some of the last ones that have some pretty original stuff. And everybody else is just kind of trying to make it their own. And not to discredit anybody, because everybody's trying to help. But in trying to make it their own, they made it very convoluted and kind of hard to understand, at least for guys like me. So, and so there's a guy, a newer guy came around, about 10 years ago. His name is David Baer. And he's a guy I found that really took complex issues and distilled them into really easy to understand and digest these super complex issues. And so, but that set me back to like the early 1900s, and I started like like Charles Handel, James Allen, Napoleon Hill. There's so many guys from back there, and that's the stuff that when I read that, I was like, it just clicked. It wasn't confusing, it wasn't convoluted. It was just information that was easy to digest, and that's where I really put all the pieces together. So it was going back to like literally studying guys from the turn of the century and it's so amazing to me that these guys like, and there's even a female named Elsie Lincoln Benedict that was incredible what she did at the time. And she was like touring around in the 1920s, and she was a female doing personal development, spoke to like 3 million people live, like just incredible stuff. But they had the easiest to digest information. And so that's where I really put all the pieces together. I had no idea that I was going to figure that out. That's not what I was looking for. I really didn't know what I was looking for when I started, to be honest. But what I realized is everybody has these issues. And if you haven't done this work and you're having issues in your life, you have beliefs buried there that are causing you to have these issues. That's all it is.
Gotcha. So what was the best part of the journey for you?
Is realizing your thoughts become things, and your thoughts aren't your own, right? Like, because you get thoughts that you're like, I don't even believe that, right? So here's a really important distinction, and it's something that whoever's listening, if you just take this one thing away, it'll be so powerful, and you don't even need to write it down. It's just something you could do as a practice. Your thoughts, when they come in, you could label them as thoughts or facts, right? So if you get a messed up thought, which we all get, and you don't agree with it or believe with it or want it even, you could say, well, that's a thought. And it's a thought I don't even believe. Like, this is just all in your head, right? You're like, I don't even believe that. I don't agree with that. That's just a thought. That's not a fact. What I do believe is this. And so it takes about 20 to 25 times of repetition. This could be in one day, mind you, right? Because if you have that same thought over and over and over again, a lot of times we do. Once you override that 20, 25 times, it becomes automatic. Your subconscious says, okay, this is not a thought that we want. This is not a thought that we believe. And it overrides with the one you do. And if you get a thought that you do believe, it's, that's a fact. That's something I believe. So labeling your thoughts as thoughts or facts is incredibly powerful. It's probably one of the most powerful things I learned in this journey to help me with, my thoughts that I didn't like, because we're all only as good as the stories we tell ourselves, right? Like, think about that. Like our thoughts aren't neutral, right? They're commands to our subconscious. So you got to be very cautious about what you're saying. Like, I am statements, especially I am not, right? Like, I am not this, I am not that, I am not good with money, I am not a good reader, I am whatever your I am not statement is, you're telling your subconscious that's what and it proves that to be right every single time. So you've got to be very careful when you're saying I am statements. It's very powerful. It's much more powerful than you realize.
Sure. What would you say was the toughest part of the journey for you?
The toughest part became the best part, right? Like, when I realized that I was walking away from money, obviously it felt like a loser, right, at first, and like just caught, but that also led me to where I am now, and it actually showed me how to be grateful for everything, even the stuff that sucks. And so that's part of my daily practice. Every morning, the first thing I do when I get up, well, I do a visualization meditation, but then I journal, and it's a gratitude journal. And I start with today. I thank God for today. And then I thank him for something shitty that happened to me, something that was not good on the surface, but then I found good in it. And my wife and my kids and my family and, my house and my car, the things that you should be grateful for. But if you're not grateful for what you have right now, even if it's something that sucks, even if your bank account sucks, even if it's something you don't like, if you can't be grateful for where you are right now, you're never going to get to where you want to go. You need to be grateful for the way things are, even for the shitty stuff, because there's good in everything if you're looking for it.
Sure. No, gratitude is such an important part of all of this stuff. So I know you wrote a book on your journey. Can you give us a sneak peek of what's in there? What's something that you want to let our listeners know that they should be on the lookout for? Why should they get this book?
So the book is just frameworks. It's only 66 pages. I wrote it, so it's not convoluted, not confusing. Like my buddies are like the strongest, tough guys I know. They're reading it because they're my buddies. Typically they wouldn't, right? And they're like, dude, like, I didn't even know you knew this. And I didn't know I needed to. Like, it's been the most rewarding and gratifying and humbling thing to get these texts. And I'm like, hey, could you put that review on Amazon for me, brother?
Yeah.
Because they're just texting and be like, they're not going to put it on Amazon at all. But the point is, the book is it's simple, easy to use frameworks. I mean, there's some structure into it to explain what they are, but really it's like frameworks. And one of the most powerful ones in there is letting go of resentments, because the biggest problems in your life are tied to resentments, and we don't want to deal with them. Especially as men, like, a lot of times your resentments they hurt. They're emotional. Like, if you were to deal with it and process it, it's going to make you cry. And so men are like, push it away. And the problem with pushing it away, it still imprints on your mind, right? It imprints in your brain. And what the craziest thing is that, like, you think, okay, resistance, you're pushing away, but clinging on to stuff you like is just as bad. So, and I always tell people, they're like, wait, what? I can't cling on. No, you got to process. It's like, just experience it, let it pass through. Because let me give you an example. You go to the beach and you see the most beautiful sunset you've ever seen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, oh, the sunset, I love it so much. I can't wait to come back here and see a sunset. And you go back to the beach the next time. And what happens? It's not as good, or it's overcast. And now something you liked lets you down, and you get into a primal state, right? And so you get into a negative state, like, oh, now I'm let down by this beautiful, I'm still at the beach. It's still beautiful. It's just not as beautiful as last time. But if you just process that beautiful thing you love, like, oh, this is great, let it pass on through. And next time, just go enjoy it for what it is. Now that thing that you love is not going to let you down, right? And so that brings us to, like, powerful and primal states of being. And this is how, like, so I could never find my limiting beliefs. Like, I love Tony Robbins. I could never, at his events, I could not find my limiting beliefs, because he doesn't really have limiting belief discovery. It's more of just, okay, write down your limiting beliefs. It's like, I don't know them. I'm like a dude that doesn't do details.
I don't know how to find them. Yeah. No,
so very simple. It's like, and this is why it's like crazy. And maybe Tony goes over this and I just didn't hear it the right way, because some people say
different things work for different people.
But the powerful and primal states of being, powerful is, when you feel good, grateful, clarity, confidence, like, powerful. And primal is when you feel, anxiety, fear, stress, like negative. So anytime you go into a primal state, when you don't feel good, you feel stressed, anxiety, fear, whatever it is, it doesn't feel good. You have a limiting belief that's buried in there. Pay attention to your thoughts. Write down your thoughts. When you get stressed out, when you get angry, like all of a sudden, like even if somebody's cutting you off, like if somebody cuts you off and you start, get road rage, like you're giving that other person power, right? Like you're giving them power to control you. This dude doesn't even know you, let alone does he care about you, because he just cut you off and he never thought about you again. Yet you're all worked up from it, right? And so this all goes back to, powerful primal states of being, and holding on to resentments. Like, this is the craziest thing, is holding on to resentments, because, you tell people they got to let go of resentments, and they're like, well, no, that person did this to me. I can't, I need to, like, they don't deserve it. Holding on to resentments is like eating poison and expecting the other person to die,
Yep.
right?
I've heard that.
It only hurts you. Right. So you're not letting go of resentment for them. You're letting go of it for you. So you're no longer in pain from it, because you're the only one it's causing pain for. And so that's a hard nut to crack for a lot of people, especially men, because they're like, processing resentment, usually to your parents. And here's another thing, like, well, it's hard to deal with, but also we all hold resentments against ourselves for not being further along, not doing this, not doing something we think we should have because we had a story that said we should. So we all give ourselves, we assign meaning to things that doesn't serve us. Like, why do we do that? Why would we assign meaning to anything that doesn't serve us in the future?
Right.
But we do it all the time.
Sure.
Right? Like, something happens, we assign a negative meaning, then we live there, and it becomes like our personality. Like this happened to me, 3 weeks ago, and I'm still mad about it. Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, so the best thing I learned in this journey is controlling my reaction to things. So I still get pissed off. Of course I do. But I don't live there for an hour. I live there for 30 seconds, maybe 60, and I'm done. I let it pass through and it's gone.
Moving on. Yeah.
That's the most powerful thing I picked up, is, being able to control my thoughts and in reactions to things. And once you learn how to do that, you win, because nothing can knock you off course then. And that's what the book is. The book is a series of frameworks that teaches you how to do that on your own. And so it's not, there's no like, okay, now you got to hire me to do this. I mean, that's what I work one-on-one with people. That's what I do. But the book is made for you to do it on your own, because I was a guy that wanted to do it on my own. Now I realize there's community is a big part of getting anywhere you want to go faster. Hiring a coach is, a part of getting anywhere you want to go faster. If somebody's been down that road before, well, then they can help you get there faster. But the book is so you could do it on your own, so you don't have to talk to anybody. And that's originally I wrote the book as a giveaway to my clients. so they could, have the frameworks and a foundation for what I do, and they
Mhm.
could understand the work. And then we could really dig deep, because that's what I do. Is like the deep dig is not in the book. It's the frameworks. Like we dig super, super deep in my work. And what I tell you is a lot of people that are successful that aren't happy, they got cars, the houses, they fly private, whatever, but they're not fulfilled. And because they've been chasing money and they were good at it, but they were missing the point. And so the point is, like, what's your purpose in life? Like, do you have any meaning for your life? Do you have a vision for your, like, where are you headed? Like, I have a guy right now, super successful, big, massive construction company. I mean, like, huge. And he's, in rehab for doing coke, and he's getting divorced, and he has two kids, and he's, in his early 40s, right? Like, why do you think that is?
Mhm.
And I'm like, what do you want? That's my question to him. Like, what are you after? And you want to know what he said? Nothing. He couldn't answer the question.
Right.
That's his problem,
Working your
right?
ass,
Like, I'm like, what?
working your ass off to get someplace, but you don't even know where the hell that place is.
But he's got no direction. He just hit money. He was at
Undefined location while still driving a million miles per hour to get God knows where, because you haven't figured it out yet. No, it makes perfect sense. I know exactly what you're saying. And, it is such an integral part of figuring out where you want this life to wind up if you're going to actually go through the process of living this life. Otherwise, if you get in the car and just start driving, God knows where the hell you're going to end up. You need to pick the destination before you get in the car and start driving. And
Yep.
unfortunately, we don't get to choose whether or not we're in the car and driving. Life is going on one way or the other. Pick a destination. Let's figure out how to get that from wherever the hell you got yourself now. Let's figure out the shortest route from where the hell you are to where you want to be. Seems to be the obvious thing. But as you said, most people are blind to just how lost they are. They don't want to admit they took a wrong turn back in Albuquerque and, like Bugs Bunny, no idea how to get to where you need to be.
No, it's hard, especially for achievers, right? Like that. So that's a lot of people I work with are successful on paper, but they're empty inside, right? They're either they're doing drugs, they're getting divorced, they're cheating on they're doing stuff that's like they're imploding their lives because they don't have a direction. Like the direction was only to make money, and the money's there, and they realize, oh wait, this isn't happiness.
Yep.
Like just money alone isn't happiness.
No, it's not. It,
And
it,
so
it gives you
they
the options that could potentially augment happiness, but you have to get happiness from someplace else.
and it's inside, like it's a mindset, and it's a way of being. And so that's what I show people how to do. I show people how to find it. And a lot of times with high achievers, it's like, all right, let's figure out your purpose. Like, where are you going? Where are you headed? Let's put some meaning behind your life, so you don't go cheat on your wife, so you don't go do drugs, so you don't start doing coke and imploding your business and life, because you don't have a vision. You don't have a direction. You just, like, you built this business and you realize it's not what you thought it was going to be, to have all this money, and now what? And so that's what we do. And there's a whole series of frameworks we go through that help pull that out. Like, what are you passionate about? Like, what do you like? Think about before all this. Like, who do you want to help? Like, you have all this money, let's start giving some away, like keeping it in circulation and giving back with it, right? Like,
The, in-
like
the, in-
this particular
the intentional pursuit of happiness is what I hear you saying.
100%. And so many people don't do it out of the gate because they get like it was me. Nobody taught me about money. That nobody teaches anybody about money.
I'm
And
working on it, man. I'm
yeah,
literally writing the curriculum right now, but
I know you said that. That's awesome. It's so needed, especially, I mean, for kids. Like
yep.
like nobody teaches the kids anything about money. Like I got my teenagers, they're 13 years old, reading the Rich Dad Poor Dad for teens, because, like, otherwise I know in school they're not going to get taught about
Nope.
money. And so I want them to learn. Like, if I teach them about it, they'll learn, like some, but they need to learn from other people and other sources. So I have a series of books, and they're gonna, I'm gonna have them read Think and Grow Rich, whether ready for it or not, because they need to start wrapping their head around these concepts
Well,
about,
I can recommend a book called The Roadmap to the American Dream, author present right here, but it's literally written for kids about how money and investing works, and a little bit more numbers driven than a Rich Dad Poor Dad would be. So, like, how to actually do a differential cash flow to determine how time affects an investment and how time affects money. Um, skill
that's
set.
up. I just wrote that down. I'll absolutely, like there can't be enough, right? Like, because there is
Sure.
none otherwise.
Yeah,
So
there's zero. Another great book, if you've never had them read it, is a book called The Millionaire Next Door.
yeah, I have that. I have read that.
That's what the actual pattern, because kids have a very skewed perception of what that is. The thing is, and this is an idea. My brother's an ethics professor, and so he and I talk about stuff. Money is not a good thing, and money is not a bad thing. It's morally neutral.
Right.
It is a thing that has various choices that it allows you to make, and those choices have moral cost, positive and negative. They have ethical price tags that are either good for your soul, if you will, or bad for your soul, who you're becoming. Ethics is always the study of who you're becoming. And so, recognizing that you're constantly in the state of becoming, every choice makes it easier to make another choice similar to that choice. So if you just stole something and got away with it, the odds of you being more inclined to steal something again are significantly improved. If you just cheated on your wife and got away with it, the odds of you wanting to do it again, you're building in these patterns. These are the ways that I get enjoyment. These are the things, and we all kind of chase those highs, those drug highs of the drugs that our brain gives us. In addition to the drugs, I mean, even the drugs that people take, they're
The
all
dopamine hits.
yeah,
It's dopamine hits, right?
all day, every day. And so to recognize that we can be, allow ourselves to be out of control drug addicts with the way that our own brain works, or recognizing that only the careful moderation of anything truly allows you to live the most full and successful life. This is one of the big things, like the guys that are too tough to cry. I always feel bad for those guys, because
Yeah.
to live a full life, you got to laugh with your friends. You got to cry with your friends. You got to strive to be the warrior poet in the room. And when you take and kind of buy into those lies of, like you're talking about, these things that we tell, to be this, I have to do this. My father said it to me as a kid, and I'll never forget it. He said, the things you see and hear and do as a kid, that stuff sticks with you forever, right? It's like little marbles that roll around in your brain, and they just get stuck up there and you can't get them out. And it's very much what I hear you saying right now, except
Yeah. And
recognizing them and trying to get them out.
and when you say drugs, like here's the thing: like people are like, well, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, or I don't. What, how often do you scroll on social media? Do you ever binge shop? How much Amazon shopping do you do? How much online shopping do you do? Right? How much binge eating do you do? It doesn't have to be drugs to be a problem or a compulsion, right?
Mhm.
Like so many people, like, because they don't drink or because they don't do drugs, they're like, well, I'm clear, but they're scrolling for 4 hours a night, like on social media, getting further into depression and comparison, because that's what, this fake life of social media, and they think, oh, I'm not addicted to anything,
Yeah.
but social media's got everybody addicted.
Let's toss one more on there: achievement, like doing shit to get, I mean, if I had to pick my drug of choice, I would tell you that's what it is. Like, if I'm not doing something, if I'm not making something, building something, there's this sense I'm doing something almost wrong. What's the next thing? Like, when I don't have something to do, like if I'm on vacation, I'm fine. Like I've given myself the full check, but like today I had a cancellation. I'm like sitting around like, okay.
But was vacation always easy for you, or
Um,
did you have to fix that?
so I sort of. I'm a big believer in systems, and I've tried to create systems to facilitate out of me the behaviors I want more of and squeeze out the behaviors I want less of. So all the systems I surround myself in my business are designed to like make me stay in touch with friends. Like you got the friend that stays in touch. Well, I
Yeah.
always wanted to be that guy, but let me be very honest with you, Jim. I'm not that freaking guy. But you know
Yeah.
what I do know about this guy? If you give this guy a stinking list of things he's got to do today, I'll tear through a list. I'll get everything done. So on my CRM, where I have all my customers and all I have all my friends on there too. So as I'm going through the things that I have to do for my business, my friends are interspersed right there. I'm the guy that calls. I keep those relationships alive from high school and whatever. I'm a part of these people's lives because that's who I think pursuing a good life. Pursuing a good life for me is what do I want them to be able to say and honestly mean about the guy they're putting in the ground. Like, what do I want them to be able to stand up there and genuinely say? And so, like, an example that I give in classes that I teach is when it comes to my business, because if I answer that question, that's going to tell me how I have to live my life. Like, what do I have to be today to be that guy? But if I'm going to run my business is a subset of this life. So what I think is consistent to be good to the end, I have to integrate that within the business that I run. And so for me, like if my friends could say, hey, look, if I was ever in trouble, if I ever had a problem, if I had one phone call, if I had to know who the one guy that would pick up his freaking phone was, who am I going to call? I always knew this guy would answer. If they could say that about me at the end,
Powerful.
I think I must have done something right, right?
No doubt. Yeah,
That means
that's powerful.
that means in my business, in my real estate business, I'm one of the only guys. You call me at 2 a.m. I don't know who the hell number says spammers. I still pick up the phone because I don't know if that's somebody to be that guy. That's the price I got to pay today. And I think for me, and that's just how my personal brain damage works, creating clarity as to what the hills I'm prepared to die on are, what the standards I have for my life are going to be, and then setting my framework around how do I have to live today to maintain those standards consistently. Like the question I always ask is, what's allowed to roll off your factory floor? Ferrari knows if it's not beautiful, it's not fast, it's not a Ferrari. If it gets to the end of the assembly line and it's not those things, they tear it apart and use it for parts because that can't go out the factory door. And it's kind of setting those standards for myself. And this is kind of the stuff you're talking about is before this, to even like where are we sourcing these ideas from?
Right.
But as we source these ideas and we want to create that consistency of life, there is this piece of it of giving ourselves clarity, because otherwise what dictates what you do every day is how you feel. And that's all over the freaking map.
What you just said is so powerful too, about raising your standards, right? Like your standards are everything, and you are where you are in your life.
What the hell you've been doing all this time?
Your standards.
Yeah,
that's it.
And so I think that it's more, Jim. I think it's more than raising them. Like if I was gonna, I think it's even creating them, like identifying what they are.
True. No, you're right. You have to create them before you can raise them. 100%. If you have zero standards, that's another part of your problem. You're 100% correct.
Well, I mean, a lot of people have like standards, but they're all over the place, like different per day, and they're not consistent with the implementation. So like another one that my father taught me as a little boy, son, you leave a room the same way you found it or better. So if I'm speaking and I don't have to catch a flight or something, I stay there and I pick up the trash that people left on the table. There's 1,000 people in the room. They paid me God knows how much money to be there. I'm not above that. This is a room. This is the room that I was I'm going to clean. Oh, Josh, you don't have to do that. We got people. I leave a room better than I found it, which business, regular life doesn't matter. Like I pick up the trash.
I'm the exact same way. I can't I don't know if it's OCD a little bit or what, but I'm like, it just clean. There's no reason for it to, I'm the exact same way.
But see, like the idea, again, like we paid this guy $80,000 to be here to talk, and he's standing there cleaning up the trash. If they could say that about me at the end, that'd be okay too.
That says a lot about your character and about your standards.
It's a thing, right? What do I want them to be able to say and have it genuinely be true? I don't want press clippings that were put out by my publicist. I want genuine people that saw the way I lived and found it to be worthwhile, laudable, that I did things the right way, that they were inspired in some way by how I did what I did. Because if lives are positively changed from the things that I brought to the table, I consider that part of a life well lived. And so, that means that the choices that we have, and we have a myriad of choices every single day, every one of those need to be taken not as a one-off, but as a series of things that are changing me constantly into being more or less like who I'm trying to be.
100%, man.
All right. So I'll get them. I'll let you.
No, so what I want to leave a framework with people too. Like, so there's, the labeling thoughts and facts is super powerful.
Absolutely.
Right? And how to find your limiting beliefs, which for years I struggled, and it's so easy. I can't believe how easy it is when you go primal. Anytime you're stressed, fear, anxiety, pay attention to your thoughts. There's a story that you're telling yourself that's tied to a limiting belief.
Sure.
And the biggest problem in your life, especially if you're between 35 and 55, and some people are overachievers, they start in their 20s. So don't think just because you're in your 20s, you can't be doing this. But most people, it's between 35 and 55. I was in my late 30s. your biggest problems are tied to your limiting belief. It's like a core limiting belief that's tied to a resentment. But I'm going to tell you how to get away from limiting beliefs that are surface level. It's so easy. If you have a piece of paper, you draw 2 lines down the middle to make 3 columns. Mm-hmm. And the left side, you write your, this is in the book too. You write the limiting belief, right? Your existing limiting belief, and I just told you how to find it. And then in the center column, you write the new empowering decision, right? So you don't have to overthink this. Like it can change over time. But let's just say you're bad with money, or you're not a good reader, or whatever your thing is. Let's just say it's money. I'm not good with money. Okay, that's your old belief. Your new empowering decision is I am good with money. And then the third column, you write evidence of that new decision, right? Mm-hmm. You find evidence, because if you're looking for it, it's everywhere. If you're not seeing it, it's because you're not looking for it. Like, we walk around with this 88%, like neuroscience tells us, we have this filtered reality where we only see about we only see 12% of what's going on. 88% of conscious reality is being filtered out by our beliefs. And those are beliefs we decided. We could decide to believe new stuff whenever we want. So with this simple, on a piece of paper, you got 3 columns. So here's what you do, though. You take the new empowering decision and the evidence of it, and you could have one empowering decision and have 5 different pieces of evidence. So it doesn't have to just be one for one.
Sure.
And then you record that on the voice notes of your phone, and now it's in your voice, and you listen to it 3 times a day for a month, and now you're reprogramming your subconscious with your own voice. Mm-hmm. It's incredibly powerful, because the first thing in the morning, before you go to bed, midday sometime, and you're listening to these new empowering decisions. And in the evidence is the most important part, because that's what anchors it in, because you're like, oh yeah, I am good with money. I do this. I do. But when you keep telling yourself you're bad with money, your body creates the chemistry that makes that true. It makes decisions. You make decisions and you take actions that will make that true, because that's what you believe. We're only as good as our thoughts.
Yep.
Right. And if you keep thinking you're not good with money, you're going to prove yourself right every time.
Prophecy. Yeah. Self-fulfilling prophecy.
100% every single time. So we get into, the book gets into the different layers of resistance, right? They're getting in the way. Like limiting beliefs are just a layer of resistance. Like, so the most powerful, one of the most powerful equations you could ever use in life is desire plus non-resistance equals desired result. So you got your desire, right? Your desire to do something, then plus non-resistance, which non-resistance is all over the place. It's in the Bible. Neville Goddard. You could even, the guy that wrote The Untethered Soul, I'm drawing a blank at the moment. The Untethered Soul and the Surrender Experiment is, I'll think of it in a minute, but he, where is that book? Anyway, they talk about non-resistance there also, right? And so what resistance is limiting beliefs.
Michael Singer.
Resentments. Your core limiting belief, which is super deep limiting belief. And then the last one, which everybody has on some level, is I'm not enough. Right? Like if you have imposter syndrome, I can't do this. That's not me. I'm not wired that way. Like all those stories you tell yourself. Michael Singer, by the way, that's the name. Yeah. Untethered Soul, and phenomenal stuff. He taught me surrender, like how to surrender. And surrender's not weakness. Surrender's alignment, right? Like a lot of guys are like, oh, surrender, you can't. I'm not. It's not about that. It's about alignment and becoming aligned with who you're truly meant to be. It's not about weakness. But those 4 layers of resistance are what's stopping you from getting everything, right? So the limiting beliefs, easy enough. Like the decision director I just told you about is super easy to get to rewire limiting beliefs that are surface level. But the core limiting belief, the one's messing with the most, that's tied to resentment. And the framework is in my book to let go of resentments. You got to name it, right? Find out what it is, because usually you're just avoiding it. And then you have to feel it, right? The second part of that is literally sitting there and it's going to hurt, right? When you really think about it, sit with it for 5 minutes, let it hurt. And then you do a cost benefit analysis on it. Like you literally okay, is there any benefit to keeping this resentment? And of course there's not, right? And then you reframe it, right? You give it a new meaning, and then you let it go. Like I literally, when I was figuring out how to let stuff go, you saw me do, I literally I do emotion because it reminds me and my subconscious like, let this pass through. It doesn't matter. Let's go. Move on to the next thing. They're all just experiences. Everything in life is an experience, and nothing has any meaning except for the meaning you assign to it. So if you don't like something, you're assigning a negative meaning to it. Figure out a different meaning, one that serves you. Like, why do we assign meanings to stuff that doesn't serve us? We do it all the time. Everybody does it, right? Like, I still have to like override. It's not like I'm like some perfect guy, like hey, everything's great. Like, I have negative thoughts. I have resistance that comes up, and I have to rewire and give things new meaning. Like wait, that's not serving me. Why would I give it that meaning? And I give it a new meaning, and I move on, right? But we hold on to things so much that like the resisting is something that stays in us so deeply, and it just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. And if you just process it right when it happens, or if you right now sit and figure out part of what I do with clients is we do a resentments inventory, right? Like there's usually a call or two that we do that just is literally inventorying the resentments. So that way you can sit there and process them and let them go, because we all have them, but we've been pushing them away most of our lives, most of us for 3-4 decades, because a lot of the ones that are the deepest wounds happened to us when we were 5, 6. And here's the thing, like, so many people are close with their parents today, or whoever raised you, right? Like they're good friends with their parents. They're tight today. They love them. They see them all the time. And they're like, well, I can't harbor resentment I love my parents. It's not about that, right? Like this is from when you were 5 and you decide you didn't like something and you still are holding on to resentments from then. Like it's a very real thing. And when you process it, it's like this weight you didn't even know you had gets lifted. It's the most incredible thing. And it seems like a lot of this was like, to me, it was like, oh, this is woo woo shit, right? Like this is stuff. But that's on my journey. That's probably the best thing. When like the 2 years I took off to study all of this, the best thing that I learned is this is not woo woo at all. This is like behavioral psychology. This is how it works, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have a thought. What you have a belief, right? A belief is a decision you made, and that goes into a thought, that goes into a feeling, that goes into an action, that goes into a result. That result every single time is going to reinforce what you think. It's the behavioral loop cycle.
Yep.
That literally and so we just keep reinforcing the same thing because we have the same thoughts, the create feelings, they create actions that create results. It goes around and around and around. So it was super powerful to go through this experience and come out on the other side with all this knowledge. I was in the real estate business for 20 years, and it was like, all right, do I go back into real estate, which I was just chasing money then, or do I go into something that I could add value into people's lives? And so that's how I got here. That's why I wrote the book, and that's why I'm helping people and speaking on stages and loving it.
So what's the title of the book again?
Mindset Breakthrough.
Mindset Breakthrough. Okay,
yeah.
Fantastic. So everybody can do that. So I want to get to a little bit more of a getting to know you, lightning roundish kind of thing. So just sort of your first answer, sort of short answer format. What would you say you're most proud of in business you've done?
Well, I'm probably creating businesses that were very profitable. And I walked away from them, but that, like I said earlier, that showed me money's easy to make.
Yep.
Right. So I didn't have a limiting belief about money being easy to make. I just believed that money caused problems. So I was walking away from it.
Gotcha.
So just go building businesses and learning money's easy to make.
Similar question, but a little bit more personal. What are you most proud of in life you've accomplished?
My wife and kids. I have a great relationship with my wife and a great relationship with my kids. I have 13-year-old twins, they're boy-girl twins. And my wife and I have been married for 20 years. Congrats. Been together for 22, and she's like my best friend. This is the love of my life. And but that was a lot of work, right? Yeah. Like sure. I mean, if you've been married for any amount of time, you got kids. We all know it's a lot of work. But so many people get divorced because it's like the easy out, and they're not willing to compromise or communicate. And so my wife and I have had lots of up and downs over the years, but the last 10 have been just incredible. And not that everything's perfect, but it's about communication. And so the learning to communicate with my wife and kids is probably it's the thing I'm most proud of.
All right. What one piece of advice, just one easy takeaway, would you give our listeners?
Label your thoughts and facts. It will change your life.
All right. Good stuff. You've already recommended one. I'm going to give you a chance to recommend another with obviously the caveat you can't recommend your own book. What's the one book you'd recommend everybody should listen to?
Most people do not even know this book exists. We talked about it before we record this, but most people know Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich, incredible book. But you could read that and be like, oh, he got introduced to Andrew Carnegie, and all you could have a chip on your shoulder if you're not doing well in life reading that book. That he had all this opportunity, I didn't. And then you read Outwitting the Devil. He wrote Outwitting the Devil the year after he published Think and Grow Rich. So in 1937, I believe he published Think and Grow Rich. In 1938, he wrote Outwitting the Devil. But it didn't get published until 2011 after him and his wife died. The Napoleon Hill Foundation finally published it because his wife wouldn't let him, because he had very controversial takes, which I believe to be true. You could have to listen to it for yourself, about church, state, and schools, and also the medical. Like, I mean, it's incredible his knowledge back in the 1930s was. So that book is my top 3 books of all time, and I highly recommend reading Think and Grow Rich twice. Well, 4 times is what everybody should read it, but after the second time, then go into Outwitting the Devil once, because it will change the way you view Napoleon Hill in the best way. And I highly recommend listening to it on Audible, because they have like this devil voice, and like it's like a conversation he's having with the devil, which you'll put yourself in the position of Napoleon Hill, be like, wow, I have a conversation with the devil all the time. Like, this is it's so profound, and it's such a good
speed
book.
dial. Yeah,
it's incredible. So yeah,
right. Good stuff. Think and Go Rich and Outwitting the Devil, Napoleon Hill. I have heard Napoleon Hill's book on here many times, but not Outwitting the Devil. So I will give that a listen. Favorite movie of all time?
Favorite movie. I don't watch a lot of movies anymore, but see, favorite movie of all time, probably Gladiator. I love that movie.
Great film. Great film. All right. Famous person in history you'd want to meet if you could?
Charles Hannell.
Okay. Person
he was one of Napoleon Hill's mentors. He wrote The Master Key System, one of my favorite books of all time. I only didn't recommend that over Outwitting the Devil, because most people have heard of Think and Grow Rich, but they need to read Outwitting the Devil, because it ties that book together, and it'll put it in perspective for you of how hard that book was. He had every reason to give up while writing that book, and he didn't.
Okay. Person from your past. It's a very similar question to the last one, but a little bit more personal. Person from your past you'd want to sit down with and have lunch with today, if you could?
My grandfather, my mother's father. I didn't know him that well. He died when I was younger, but he was a really good man, and I would love to talk to him again.
Okay. One piece of advice you'd go back and give a younger version of you?
Financial literacy. Learn about money.
Okay. What if you had to pick somebody to be stuck in a foxhole with, who would you choose to have in the foxhole with you? Who's got you back?
My wife.
All right. Good call. What do you do to unwind, Jim?
I walk. I work out. I meditate. I do breathing. I do like breath work. All the stuff that down regulates your nervous system. I take sauna. I take cold showers. Anytime I go primal, or I get stressed or whatever, because obviously I'm not like some machine that doesn't happen to. I go for a walk. I go do a hard workout. I take a sauna. I do it meditation. So I don't do drugs. I don't drink. I don't do pharmaceutical. I don't do doctors, because most of that stuff, they're just trying to prescribe you stuff. But what has changed the way I see the world is through meditation. It's been crazy powerful for me. If you don't meditate, I talk really fast. My mind goes fast. So for years I said, I can't meditate. And then I forced myself to learn, and it was one of the most powerful things that ever happened to me.
Okay. Last question I have for you is, where can people find you and your book?
Well, Mindset Breakthrough is available on Amazon. You can go to my website and download it for free, a PDF. That's jimhuntzicker.com, JimHuntzicker.com, or go to mindsetbreakthrough.com. It'll take you to the book on Amazon. I'm not on social media very much, and you shouldn't be either. If you're on social media daily and you're not using it to make money, all you're doing is causing yourself a ton of aggravation, stress, and comparisons you don't need. Social media is fine, once or twice a week for 20 minutes. But if you're on it for more than once or twice a week for 20 minutes, you better be making a shit ton of money from it.
I'm not on it at all.
Yeah, me either. You won't find me on it. I need to hire somebody
No,
because
I've totally hired people to do it for me.
yeah, you know, and I haven't yet. I'm just this business. I've been doing this for about a year. I'm at the point I'm now going to hire somebody for it because I need to expand my reach. But if you go look, I'm not on it. Like I have Instagram, I have LinkedIn. I do not have Facebook. I got to get that, but I don't have TikTok. I don't have whatever else.
Yep.
Like
Same
I'm
here.
not into it because it's a suck and it does nothing for you.
Yes, absolutely. It's like when they handed me the peach spread, I was like, that's not my jam. Totally not my jam. Um, Jim, thank you so much for your time, for coming on and talking with us. It was great, getting a chance to meet you.
Yeah, Josh, thanks for having me. It was great.
My pleasure. And I want to, as always, thank our listeners for spending their time with us, guys. As you can tell, there's never a good excuse not to know your shit. Till next time.